Fitzgerald and Kalina Azubuike call all the action. Tune in to Warriors pre- and post-game live, hosted by me, Bonte Hill, alongside NBA champ Festus Ezeli and Hall of Famer Chris Mullen. 1 hour before and immediately after every single game. Plus nonstop Warriors content with the NBC Sports Bay Area app. Authentic moments live here on NBC Sports Bay Area.
The lights, the crowd, the moment. When the Warriors take the floor, greatness follows. At Cache Creek Casino Resort, every moment shines. Feel the rush as the reels spin. Breathe in our serene spa. Savor each bite in our award-winning steakhouse. And recharge in the comfort of our luxurious hotel. Cache Creek Casino Resort, proud partner of your Golden State Warriors. Please play responsibly.
Thanks for showing up, Dub Nation. Nothing beats catching your Warriors live, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back. As the official ticket marketplace of the Warriors and the NBA, even if you're headed to the game last minute, Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can experience all the sights, sounds, and styles in person. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Warriors tickets today at Ticketmaster. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Warriors. See you courtside again soon, Dub Nation.
15 years ago, PG&E launched Power Pathway, an education and job training program developed to increase the number of skilled workers in the energy industry. Since then, 85% of the graduates have been hired by PG&E or the construction utility industry, focusing on students in underserved communities, women, and military veterans. Power Pathway is helping the next generation of PG&E energy professionals build a better future for themselves and a clean energy future for California. To learn more, visit pge.com/powerpathway.
No matter what you're eating during today's Warriors game, sharing a jar of Mazzetta makes it better. Just pop open that red cap to give your favorite snacks something extra, like crunchy jalapenos on nachos or zesty peppercini on sandwiches and sliders. It's just better. Mazzetta is a family-owned Bay Area company providing peppers, olives, pickled vegetables, and sauces since 1935. At Mazzetta, we say that when you share your food, you share a part of who you are. So grab your family and friends and share some unforgettable flavors with Mazzetta.
Curry, pump fake, flyby, three ball, got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-HOOP.
You wish you were here.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast has been brought to you by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico. The lights are out.
Curry gets it. Carter over the shoulder. Obrecht with a jumper. It's an air ball. Warriors will rebound. Jackson Davis dribbles it out. What a win in Chicago for Golden State. On the back end of a back-to-back where they had to fight right down to the wire against Cleveland. The Warriors get a resounding 123-90 win over Chicago. The Bulls have their 7th straight loss. The Warriors go home with an above 500 record and get a well-deserved couple of days of rest before getting back on the practice floor on Wednesday.
That mother lover. The Golden State Warriors, after, a week ago, it looking like a potential 1-2, maybe even an 0-3 road trip. They find a little something in Philadelphia, one possession away from a win. They go into Cleveland and hold the Cavaliers to 94. Then tonight, on a back-to-back, they go in and absolutely blast the Bulls in Chicago as they step into the United Center and own the building, 123-91. This is Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game, and it is all about Pat Spencer. Everybody chipped in tonight. Butler returned, had 19. Quentin Post knocked down 5 threes. He really seems to love to play the Chicago Bulls. Brandon Podziemski had 21 off the bench. We'll talk about who didn't play as well, all coming up here over the next hour or so. But to me, it still is about the story of last week and really what this guy, this two-way player, this former Santa Cruz Warrior, this former lacrosse player, this former back end of the bench, turn point guard, turn starter, has done for the Golden State Warriors, and that is Pat Spencer. I know he didn't have the 12 in the fourth quarter like he did against Cleveland. I know he wasn't waving goodbye to the Chicago Bulls fans like he was a night ago in the land, but this guy everyone has sort of wrapped their arms around him. And, that mother bleeping energy that he has had, I would say, it seems like his entire career, but now we're getting to see on a consistent basis. It's sweeping Golden State, and I think it's a big reason why the Warriors went 2-1 on this road trip at kind of a vulnerable point in their season. You go into Philadelphia and you don't have Curry, you don't have Jimmy. Draymond goes down quickly, and then you're thinking, oh my gosh, we came back, but we blew the end of the game. Now we play a Cleveland team that looks pretty good. You got the Bulls on a tail end of a back-to-back, and at the end of the weekend, going into it on Friday night, you're thinking, this could be a tough roadie, and we might be back at 11-14. And Pat Spencer, along with the rest of the Warriors tonight, and Jimmy Butler did play a big role, but Pat Spencer has been leading the charge for a team that now, with 4 days of rest, mind you, because the next time they play will be on Friday against Minnesota, hopefully with Steph Curry back, they're a game above 500 and a game out of the 8 spot. So, out of the 7 spot. So the Warriors, it's so funny how things can change in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. But this team feels like it's in a much different place. The health of the Warriors, the kind of the energy right now with this team, it is palpable. And you saw that tonight from the very beginning of the game. They scored 38 points in the first quarter against Chicago. And while they nearly beat Philadelphia, while they found a way to fend off Cleveland, they did not start well in either of those two games. Defense has been the calling card over the last 3 now for Golden State, but against Philly, they scored 10 points in the first quarter. That was an ugly, ugly first quarter. Against Cleveland, though they weren't down by much, they only scored 12 points. Again, another ugly, you can't put lipstick on a pig type of first quarter. But against Chicago, they just came out of the gates absolutely firing is what they did tonight. 38 points, they hit 8 threes, 15 field goals made, and the most important part of that is the 10 assists of the total 27 that they had tonight was in the opening period. And, Quentin Post, I don't think they had a single guy who hit more than 2 threes in the quarter and a guy that scored more than double digits. Post had 9 at the end of the first, but still it was a committee type of affair. And that's really what this game was. They had 6 in double digits overall. Not a single player played 30 minutes in this game tonight. This felt like a strength in numbers sort of win for the Warriors, who are down 2 of their top 3 players, who had a player in Jonathan Kuminga who came into this season as a starter, got a DMP coach's decision. Also, Seth Curry got a DMP coach's decision, did not play tonight. But Steve Kerr ran 11 deep, trusted his guys, and the togetherness of this group appears to be a lot different than it was a week ago. And I would even take this back to the Oklahoma City game that they lost, because I remember, and I spoke about it during Warriors Live today, I remember thinking after that game, yes, they lost by 12, but they were in it, right? It was a clutch game. They had a 4-point lead at one point in the fourth quarter, midway through. That was the kind of energy in the second half against OKC, the kind of, I don't want to even want to call it chemistry or cohesion, just overall commitment. And I remember saying, if they play that way, and it doesn't matter who's on the floor, it could be, again, the back end of the bench guys, it could be the starters, it could be the stars. If they play with that sort of energy, this team is going to play well. They're going to figure this thing out. And it feels like the kind of basketball that we saw at the last 3 games, and particularly tonight against a Bulls team that is not very good, a Bulls team that you should be able to handle, a Bulls team that has now lost 7 games in a row for a reason. That's what you do to a bad team. But to me, the energy with which they played tonight stems all the way back from Oklahoma City, and it's built, and it's built, and it's built. And that's what's been so fun about watching the last week for Golden State, is just when you feel like they're done and they got nobody to help them. And honestly, I was feeling like this season could be taking a turn for the worst. A guy, an unnamed player, steps in, dons a cape, and again, he's not scoring all the points. He's not getting all the assists. He's not getting all the rebounds. But you Warriors fans out there who have watched these games from beginning to end, you can feel the energy that the rest of the team is playing with and feeding off of because of number 61. It's a spring training number, but they might be giving away Pat Spencer handlebar mustaches at Chase Center on Friday. I don't know what kind of giveaways they got coming up, but the Spencer handlebar, the Spencer mustache, that's got to be one of them. I saw a couple of young Warriors fans post-game in Chicago rocking them. Can we get the Warriors to give away 20,000 free mustaches? Everybody's got to be embracing this right now because it's not necessarily something that could perhaps go all the way through the year, right? Steph Curry's eventually going to come back. Penn Spencer's eventually going to go to the bench. But he is marking a place for himself on this team. He is putting his fingerprints all over this team. And everyone is feeding off of what he's doing. And it's been really exciting to watch, again, at a point in the year, a little over a quarter of the way through, where you felt like the Warriors were beginning to lose their life, were losing their energy. And that's why I think what he's done over these last 4 games is so important, because what have we been clamoring for outside of the big 3? And some nights even from the big 3. It's been consistency. It's been the energy. It's been the effort. And I think in a way, they've been sort of looking for the young guys, some of the younger players on this team to provide some of that. We know that Curry can go out and get 40 plus. He's done it 3 times already this season. We know that Draymond Green can summon defensive energy and help this team on that end when he has it. We've seen it. We know Jimmy Butler can go out there and be a point forward and make decisions and help sort of orchestrate this team to victory. We know that those guys can do that. Not every night, but we know that they can still summon it. But it's almost like they've been looking for just someone to light the fire. They got the oil, they got the octane, but they need someone to strike a match under this squad. And I think that guy's been Pat Spencer. I'm sorry. It just has been. He has taken a spot in the starting rotation for now. I believe when Curry eventually returns, he's someone that Steve Kerr has to continue to find minutes for. And this is where the juggling of the rotations is going to be interesting, in my opinion, because they got probably 10 guys right now that may be deserving of minutes, and Pat Spencer's one of them. He just is. And I think the way that he's played, I know he had 4 turnovers tonight, but for the most part, he's taken really good care of the basketball. And I think he does one thing that, and obviously looks a lot better in a game like this, which you walk away with a win, but I feel like one of the things that he also does, he plays with accountability, and he plays with a responsibility that even if he is a two-way player, that in the last couple of games, the Warriors are looking to him to make plays. He had 3 assists in the first quarter. A couple were some beautiful dishes to Quentin Post. He ended up with 6 assists on the night. And even on the defensive end, there was a play in the first half, I think it was in the first quarter, where Kobe White checks into the game, and Kobe White's a bucket. I know he had a bad game tonight, but Kobe White can go out and get you points. And Spencer tried to sort of shade him to the left. I don't know if he thought that he had help defense coming, but Kobe White just blows right by him. Easy basket, almost no resistance at the rim whatsoever. And Spencer turns around, taps his chest, points up like, that was my bad. I missed my assignment, or I let the guy go by me. That was my bad. And then he goes down and he sets up a shooter on the next play. It's like that kind of stuff to me is, the accountability for even a turnover at the end of the Philly game, in which you could make a case was his fault, or was Buddy Hield's fault, or was the play that was drawn up's fault. The accountability is something that, just hasn't been there the entire year from players, not even at the top of the roster. I would say at the top of the roster. When Draymond Green is talking about agendas and is talking about commitment to winning, and Jimmy Butler is saying that we're not good enough defensively, a lot of times it feels like the top dogs are sort of pointing at the rest of the team, even if they are also saying themselves. It feels like they're deflecting a little bit. Pat Spencer's a guy he's responsible for every place he's gotten in his professional career. And just, in that moment, I kind of felt like, how many times have we seen a guy say, my bad for getting blown? Like, they're always looking at someone else, or you weren't in this position, or you were supposed to be in that spot. You didn't get the rebound. You missed the shot. You didn't set this pick. And he just taps on his chest and says, my bad, and then keeps it moving. And then makes a positive play on the other end, flushes it, puts it behind him. And that to me is something that's had a domino effect on the team. That sort of, again, just toughness, competitive nature, energy, effort. We have not seen a lot of that this year from the Warriors. And I mentioned this before, but the fact that the Warriors did what they did in Cleveland last night, which by far and away is a more impressive win than the one they won tonight. I told you guys pregame I expected them to win this game because I thought it was one to get. They were playing an inferior opponent, and with the way that they'd been playing the last couple of nights, I felt like this was one that they were going to go out and get. I don't think they win by 30. They blew the doors off Chicago, but the point was, the Warriors have found something, and I thought it'd be good enough to get over Chicago. Point aside, Cleveland was a game where that's happened to them multiple times this year. It just has, where they don't have, the Warriors, I should say, have their guys on the floor. Cleveland had Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, their top three dudes. And the Warriors have been in that spot before against, you could say, Milwaukee early in the year, against Indiana, against Portland. They've had those games where they've had their top dogs out there, even a shorthanded Houston team in which the Warriors led by 14 in the second half, and they weren't able to close them out. Like, that's happened to them multiple times this year. That's a reason why coming into this game they were 500. But they got over. They got one of those games back. They took one of those games in the effort column last night. And tonight, they just demolished a team that they should have beaten flat out. I mean, you saw the way Chicago played. They're a team that is not normally going to score 91 points. I think you have to credit some of the defensive energy that the Warriors brought tonight, along with the fact that the Bulls were just taking the ball out of the basket again and again and again. And they really play only at one speed, which is fast. And if that's not working, you could see that they just don't have a ton of answers on the roster right now. They're also missing a couple guys, but obviously the Warriors didn't have Steph Curry or Draymond. But, Josh Giddey, he can make some shots. Got into a little bit of a rhythm there at the end of the third quarter. You can see that Kobe White can make some shots, but he did not drain any from distance tonight. Ayo Dosunmu is a guy who usually comes off the bench for Chicago. Matas Buzelis might be the most promising prospect on that team, and he had a vicious. Quentin Post played a great game tonight and has played really well defensively. I think that he's taken leaps and bounds in that category, but he got bodied tonight. The Buzelis he shocked me. I knew what kind of bounce he had. I saw him last year at Chase Center, actually, when he was in the slam dunk contest. He didn't look very good in the slam dunk contest, but you could see he's got bunnies. But he just, like a Euro step, he just put it over Quentin Post, had him backpedaling, and dropped the hammer on him. That was probably the most athletic display we saw tonight. But didn't really deter Q. He hit 5 threes, scored 19 points, second most on the team. Also had a block in the game, as well as a steal. So, but the point is, that's a game where the Warriors, if they are a good group, which it looks like they're slowly beginning to morph into. Like, I'm curious to hear what Steve Kerr later has to say about this team and sort of the direction they're moving in, because it feels like they're beginning to find something that once they add Steph to, once Draymond comes back, Jimmy hopefully can continue to play a little more consistently. There's something there with these players. And also, too, eventually when Curry has to miss a game, Draymond, Butler, Horford, who is also out tonight, well, then maybe you're not dead in the water. Maybe you can steal a game against a good team. Maybe you can bury a bad team like they did Chicago tonight. There's a reason why they're 5 games below 500. All right, 888-957-9570 is the number. This is Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app, and now broadcasting live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Golden State 123, Chicago 91. The Warriors wrap up a 3-game roadie, 2-1. And really, one possession away from a 3-0 road trip. Like, I know that may seem like kind of a turning point for some people. To me, the second half of the OKC game is really where I think this all stems from. The belief that the way that they eclipsed a 20-plus point lead in that game and had a chance to potentially win against the defending champs, against the defending most valuable player and finals MVP, against a team that is looking like they have a chance to break the 2016 Golden State Warriors all-time single-season wins record, or at least challenge it. The belief that the way they played was good enough to, take the Thunder down to the wire. I know they're missing Caruso, Dort, and Hartenstein, but the Warriors were obviously missing Curry. I think that belief is what has sort of spurred all of this. And sometimes it just takes a game to kind of see it. I think one of the issues the Warriors have been dealing with is their confidence. I think a lot of their young players, at least as of a week ago, and maybe even some of them now, they've lost their confidence. I thought that Pods, prior to, he's a player that needs confidence. He might do some silly things out there, some head-scratching things, but he's never not had confidence. That's one thing that after especially the Philadelphia game, I was wondering whether he was having a crisis of confidence. That's Brandon Podziemski. He's the most irrationally confident dude maybe on this team. Moses Moody, I feel like watching him has been dealing with some confidence issues. You can look at a Buddy Hield. I think he has played, not very well, but he's starting to second guess some shots. Shoot. A lot of the guys on this team, I think, were dealing with confidence issues because anytime you're not winning consistently, you're second-guessing yourself. And then Jonathan Kuminga, who we did not see tonight. I still feel like he is absolutely in his own head and may have not been done any favors tonight by the head coach, but I can't second-guess that decision. I didn't think about Jonathan Kuminga tonight outside of the fact that when Guy Santos came in his sort of position for that first substitution, I was thinking, wow. All right, well, that's noteworthy. Maybe we'll see JK in garbage time, although I think he wouldn't have really, that wouldn't have done anything. I think this is probably not going to help him, but they won by 32 points. How can you second guess him not playing both Kuminga as well as Seth Curry when the team reacted the way it did? And Steve Kerr kind of set us up for something like this, since we're going to get into some of the rotation stuff, and especially with all the decisions they're going to have to make when Curry eventually returns. Steve Kerr's told us last night after the Cavaliers game a couple of things. He told us we can't play 15 dudes, and it feels like we hear this every single year of who we can and who we can't play, the numbers that he's willing to fit in. He played 11 tonight, and, well, technically he played 12, but GP2 only played 4 minutes, who was quietly also in and out of the rotation. And I thought GP2 had not necessarily earned minutes, but he wasn't playing poorly by any means. Anyways, Steve Kerr told us that this was going to happen, that there were going to be some guys in and out that were going to have their minutes yanked around, some guys that weren't going to play. He said it without saying it. He also said, almost directly, what he wanted to see, or what he's been trying to get, the duo that I think is struggled mightily for most of this season, Jonathan Kuminga to do, and what he wants Brandon Podziemski to do. JK was DMP-CD tonight. Podziemski responded by scoring 21 points, grabbing 8 rebounds, dishing out 7 assists in 29 minutes. He was the leading scorer, and he hit 5 threes. You can't kill Pods tonight, and I can't look at Kuminga and say that he should have played tonight. Just like I didn't look at either of them against Philadelphia or Cleveland and say they should have played more, they should have done this, they should have done that. Because the Warriors are trying to find, I think, Steve Kerr's trying to find players that he can rely on giving him what this team largely has lacked for the first 25 games, and that is a consistent level of energy and effort. It just hasn't been there as a team. And so he's trying to find guys that can give him that. Pat Spencer has that in an abundance. Guy Santos, that's what he does. That's all he can do, really. He didn't make any threes tonight, but he grabs 7 rebounds. He runs for 20 minutes that he's out there for, however long he's out there for. As much as I think that Trace Jackson Davis, when Horford is available, is not someone that we're going to see a lot of. He tries. And actually, I think that's one of the big reasons why in this road trip, it's not a coincidence that the Warriors have played, for the most part, the players that have given them the effort and have tried the hardest in a sense, that have competed. I don't think it's a coincidence that we've seen those guys for now pretty much the entirety of this road trip. And they have allowed less than 100 points to 3 different teams. Philly's not a spectacular offensive team. Cleveland hasn't been great this year, but they certainly have the ability. Coming off of last season, they were really good as far as offensive efficiency. And then the Bulls, while they didn't look like it tonight, and maybe it's because they're missing a couple of their pieces, they're not a bad offensive team. They play fast, so they get up a lot of shots. That's kind of how they make up for, you could say, a lack of great shooters. But their numbers are not terrible. They've been awful lately, but they're not a bad offensive team, and the Warriors kept them to under 100 points. A lot of that had to do with the fourth quarter when the Warriors just absolutely blasted them 36-15. And that's another part of what the Warriors have done recently, too. Against Portland at the beginning of the homestand, and then in the middle of the homestand against Houston, they were up by double digits in those games in the second half, but it felt like when Portland made a run, or when Houston made their run, the Warriors had no counterpunch. Chicago made a run tonight, and I don't know if fans or people out there watching were getting a little nervous when in the third quarter, the Bulls, what happened here? The Bulls cut it to 9. Actually, that was at the beginning of the third quarter. Or pardon me, the middle of the third quarter, they start to go on a run. The beginning of the fourth quarter is where they capped their run. So over the final 3-ish minutes of the third, 30 seconds into the fourth, the Bulls went on a 17-1 run. And a lot of it is because I thought the Warriors were playing a bit sloppy. They took some bad shots. I think Pods had an offensive foul and then took a bad shot late in the shot clock with some guys out there, including Jimmy Butler, that might have been able to get better ones. There was just, to me, there was a lack of ball security. They were forcing shots, and the Bulls were feeding off that. They were also knocking down some threes. Giddey hit a couple shots. Javon Carter hit a 3 from the wing. Zach Collins had an and one. They were starting to feel themselves a little bit. They trim it to 9. And then what does Freudian slip. What does Steve Kerr do? He goes to Pat Spencer. 30 seconds into the fourth quarter, he brings Pat Spencer in. Podziemski hits a big wing 3. Has the response there. And then Jimmy Butler, after he got blocked by Zach Collins, it's almost like that kind of fired him up because Zach Collins is nowhere in his class. And that's sort of the Jimmy Butler that we know is still there, but oftentimes don't see. A Butler who can kind of take a matchup personally. Like, okay, you're going to put Zach Collins on me because Butler's technically at the 4 in that spot. Zach Collins is playing the 4. That's fine. I'm going to eat him alive. Butler goes at him the next possession down after getting blocked by him on the turnaround, gets Collins in the air, finishes over the top of him with a floating bank shot, then gets the ball next possession down. Right wing. Collins is sagging off on him, drills a 3-pointer. Couple possessions later, then Butler from the corner. I forget over which defender for the Bulls, but it was almost, he was kind of widespread and had the shot, so he just took it. It was a quick 8 points to start the fourth quarter for Jimmy Butler that, along with Spencer coming back into the game and settling things down, that the Warriors ended up going on a 21-2 run. Once Butler started to get it going, then the ball began to pop. Post hits a 3. Will Richard hits a 3. Pods knocks down, the 3 ball begins to come back for the Warriors, who hit 22 3-pointers in this game. They didn't really get to the line much, and even when they got there, they didn't cash in on a bunch of their chances. Jimmy Butler missed 3 free throws. DeAnthony Melton was 2 of 4 at the line. They didn't clean up at the stripe. They cleaned up at the 3-point line. And some of that is, yes, they shot the ball better, but if you go through their 47 attempts, a lot of them were pretty good looks. I mean, heck, I'm just watching the highlights back on television here in the studio. The first shot of the game, Pat Spencer gets into the paint, throws it out to Buddy Hield straight away, top of the key. Late contest, bang, 3-pointer. Oddly enough, that was Buddy Hield's only 3-pointer he made in the game. But the point is, a lot of the shots that the Warriors were taking were either from players that had it going or were shooting with confidence or guys that were taking wide open looks. And the confidence right now with this team, again, just a week after they felt dead and without their best player, Steph Curry, their heart, their body, their soul, their son, whatever you want to call him. I mean, the star, the son, not familial. But they had no confidence, and they found it over this road trip. And, it was against a bad Bulls team tonight, but that's what you're supposed to do to bad teams. You're supposed to step on their throats, which is what the Warriors did. After the Bulls, who at some point were going to make a run because that's what they do. They can score in bunches. After they went on that 17-1 run, the Warriors responded with a 21-2 run. They stopped it. They ended it. Spencer came into the game. Jimmy Butler turned it on. The best players on the floor turned it up. And that's what the Warriors have been kind of missing. So it was encouraging to me that Golden State was able to get this done. All right, we're going to step aside and come back here from Steve Kerr on the other side. If you want to get your calls in, now is the time. 888-957-9570 is the number. Evan Giddings with you on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. We'll step back, come back after this. 123-91. Warriors 13-12, a 2-1 road trip as they bully the Bulls in Chicago. We'll be back after this on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
O'Reilly. Cleaning your fuel system can help your engine run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner on sale now. Buy one, get one free, plus get 2 times O-Rewards points. Just add it to your tank during your next fill-up. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? At Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So, don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
you'll be sorry. An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
From Carriage House to glass aluminum doors, R&S Doors has a full line of commercial and residential garage doors and gates to suit anyone's taste and budget. Visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
When back to the office means back in traffic.
Blocking the right lane.
Turn to the traffic leader, KCBS.
You're going to come up on heavy traffic.
Brought to you by your NorCal Honda dealers. Don't miss Happy Honda Days for the best deals of the year on the versatile HR-V. See your NorCal Honda dealers today.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No!
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
Americans pay about $5 billion to control termites and repair their damage every year. Many people underestimate exactly how much damage they do. Call Pacific Coast Termite today at 800-PACIFIC for a free home inspection. Certain restrictions apply. No tenting, though. No double bagging your food. No pet sitting. Mention KCBS and get 10% off termite treatments and a 2-year guarantee on their work. Call 800-PACIFIC. 800-PACIFIC, or go to PacificCoastTermite.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2025. Last chance! Donate now for a 2025 tax deduction.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-269-3454. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-269-3454 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-269-3454 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-269-3454.
Pajemski calls up post for a screen. Gets the screen set, and again. Pajemski penetrates, has post wide open. Topside triple. Good! Quentin Post, 98-79. Post with another three.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Tim Roy on the call for a good one. Warriors 123, Bulls 91. That was during the middle of the Warriors 21-2 spurt in response to a Bulls push at the end of the third into the fourth. And the Warriors separated. They absolutely dominated the Chicago Bulls with a 36-15 final period. And they walk into this week with an above 500 record. You know, if you told me that at the beginning of this road trip, on the heels of, you lose Curry, you don't have Jimmy, Draymond goes down early in the trip, that they were going to go 2-1, I would be pretty shocked if you told me that. I thought they had a good chance to get one game during this road trip. You know, I felt like after OKC, they showed me something that some of the guys at the bottom of the bench, even, some of the second unit players, you want to call them, sub-starters. I still don't think that this Warriors team has really found their starting lineup because not everybody has been available when they're at full strength, that is. But I thought they might be able to get one. That Cleveland game yesterday was a game where it's like, all right, Cleveland didn't shoot it well at all. The Warriors made enough plays. But tonight, they look like the Dubs of last season. They played an inferior opponent, and despite not having two of their top three guys, they put the Bulls in their place. And I thought it was incredibly impressive. And it's got people feeling a lot different about the Warriors moving now with 4 days off between when they play next against Minnesota and hopefully when they get Steph Curry back from his quad injury. So that's another wrinkle to this too, which is, again, what, I was hoping that when the Warriors got Curry back, they could find some guys that were just able to help them. When Curry's not in the game, who can play alongside Steph, who can do some things that just contribute to winning. I think Will Richard has been pretty good this season. Well, he's been awesome considering he's the 56th overall pick, but he's been pretty good. And so he's been a solid enough guy to stay in the starting lineup for the Warriors. But there hasn't been a ton of other dudes up until this past week who looked like they were ones to sort of push the other guys who weren't playing with consistent effort out of the rotation. That's what happened this week. The bottom of the bench saw an opportunity, saw a window to go out and get minutes, to go out and prove why they're in the NBA, to prove why they might be better than some of the players ahead of them. Time will tell whether they are or are not, but a guy like Pat Spencer, he thinks he's that MFer. He does. And the rest of the team played tonight, played last night, played this whole road trip alongside him like he's that MFer. And that's why coming in this week, like I was reading some of the headlines today, James Harden moves into the top 10 in NBA scoring, passes Carmelo Anthony. Impressive, no doubt. The OKC Thunder have won, after they whooped the Jazz tonight, they'll have won 15 in a row. They're a team that's going to match, actually, the Golden State Warriors 2016. Are going to be one game away from matching the Warriors 2016 start when they began the season 24-1. The Thunder after tonight are going to be 23-1. So there's kind of the big stuff, right? But make no doubt about it, these 3 games there will be people talking about him tomorrow because of his story, because of kind of the underdog type nature of it, and because of the results. And that's Pat Spencer. People will be talking about Pat Spencer tomorrow with the kind of week that he just put together. Against Oklahoma City, 17-6. Against Philadelphia, 16-4. One possession away from a victory. Against Cleveland, 19 points and 7 assists. 12 points in the fourth quarter. Free throws and waving the Cleveland Cavaliers fans home. Against Chicago tonight, 12-6-5. Was a plus 30 and was sort of the linchpin alongside Jimmy Butler of that 21-2 run that put the Bulls in a coffin. Over the weekend, Pat Spencer's become one of the stories, if not the story, around the association. Who is this guy? This former lacrosse player, this 29-year-old in his 3rd season, this Santa Cruz Warrior, this underdog story who has been the battery plugged into Golden State that has charged them up for an entire week at a point where they were probably seen around by most at being at their lowest. Pat Spencer is one of the stories in the association, and he deserves it. That's why people, the veterans last night in Cleveland, are screaming coming to the locker room. That's why in Philly, I was disappointed that they lost that game. It's why I'm feeling so good heading into Monday after the Warriors just blitzed the Bulls, is because this guy has been working for so hard for so long for a game that he clearly loves. And it's great to see players like that and people like that rewarded for their effort. And that's why I hope and I believe people will be talking about him tomorrow. Again, the Hardens, the points, that's all good. The Thunder, we know they're dominant. All right, they're probably going to be 24-1, 25. But we could talk about them any other day. How many times do we get to talk about Pat Spencer on a Monday? He's quickly grabbed the attention of Warriors fans, no doubt about it. But I think he's grabbed more than that. I mean, I was scrolling Twitter last night after they beat the Cavaliers, and that highlight of him waving off the Cavs fans on the heels of him saying that I'm that mother lover. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of stuff. That's what's grabbing the attention of national people, because he's wearing number 61. He plays like a lax bro. He looks like a lax bro, but he's tough. He competes. He doesn't care who's across from him. He doesn't care if you're number 1 pick, if you're the 60th overall pick. He can give it to you. And there's been stories now emerging. Stories that are written in The Athletic, the SF Standard, kind of about some of the behind-the-scenes, competition and competitive nature overall of Pat Spencer that I've really enjoyed reading. And there was a story last year, I think it was written by Marcus Thompson, about Pat Spencer and his journey. It was during the playoffs, around the playoffs, because he was starting to get some tick. And in the locker room, I guess they had just finished up a scrimmage. And Spencer was not happy with the results of the scrimmage. And he comes into the locker room and he starts punching this box, and it's like, that's kind of who he is. He doesn't want to lose in practice. He doesn't want to lose during the games. And I know that this may have and probably will have a shelf life, although I do think Spencer's earned minutes back into the rotation. But this is when the Warriors needed that kind of boost. If they don't have I'll say it. If they don't have Pat Spencer on this team, the Warriors are probably 11-14 right now. That's crazy to think about. But I believe it to be true. If Pat Spencer wasn't there for Philly, Cleveland today, they probably lose. Well, maybe not tonight. They probably kill the Bulls. Well, I don't know if they kill the Bulls, but I think they beat them. But they don't win last night. I don't think so at all. And we're feeling a lot different about this team. I mean, but again, though, it's like they played, and I think one of the reasons why they hammered Chicago is because of whatever they've found over the last few days, and they haven't found that really until I think Pat Spencer sort of brought it into focus. So his impact has not just been statistical, but I think it's been on the confidence and the psyche of this team. That here's the guy who doesn't even have a guaranteed roster spot, which is something else the Warriors are going to have to think out and kind of figure out moving forward, because now he's played 20-something games, and he's got 55 that he can play at the NBA level because of his two-way deal. He's not even guaranteed a roster spot. And in fact, he played 27 minutes tonight, 27 minutes more than the guy who took what I'm sure he believes to be his roster spot. That's Seth Curry. Seth Curry, they had to wait. They decided that they were going to do some financial gymnastics, some cap gymnastics to get him on the team. And no one, would bat an eye about it. I'm not saying that Seth isn't a guy for this team, but I'm sure Pat Spencer, who's been a part of this club for a couple of years, who played in the playoffs, who, I'm sure behind the scenes has been working his tail off, he's probably thinking that should be my roster spot. Not Steph Curry specifically, or Seth Curry, sorry to me, but you know what I mean? And so Seth was also a DMP CD tonight. Not just Kuminga, Seth Curry didn't play, who was available for this game. And Pat Spencer played 27 more minutes than him. And I didn't think about Seth whatsoever. I also didn't think much about JK, because here we are again, right? I mean, this is the place we were at the end of last season. And I do want to hear from Steve Kerr, because I'm sure he was asked about JK's absence in just a sec. But to me, this should kind of shock nobody. And it's as much about their relationship, the past, and what happened this summer. I mean, it's just, this has been going on this is the 5th year it's been going on. JK getting DMP'd, CD'd, should shock nobody. Now, the one thing that I will say is I was impressed. I didn't see Kuminga pouting on the bench tonight. He was up, he was clapping hands in the huddle, he was high-fiving guys. He was up and cheering for his team. By all accounts, it seems like he handled it professionally. But again, that's what it felt like this was always going to get back to at some point. He doesn't fit with what Kerr wants, and Kerr doesn't believe that he can fit. I mean, shoot, he said last night what he thought about him. He said that we're looking for JK to run and use his athletic tools to basically get up and down the floor. That's what Guy Santos does. I mean, he hasn't mentioned anything specific as far as, scoring, shooting, passing, rebounding. No, he wants him to run. Okay, well, Kerr, even last year at times, felt like Guy Santos was a better option. And he's closed, by the way, back-to-back games. So, I'm talking about Santos. So it's like, it shouldn't really surprise anybody. I also don't think that this is the end of, Kuminga playing. Like I think he's going to get tick at some point, but he's out of the rotation. That's what we learned tonight. This was the first time that he was healthy and did not play a single second. He's out of the rotation, just like he was at the end of last year. I'm sure he's not feeling good about it. I'm sure his agent isn't feeling good about it, who had some things to say after the OKC game and has been coincidentally silent since. But this is just what it is. And in fact, I feel like we knew that this was at some point going to be the case off of the summer. He was paid to be at a salary with which they could then decide whether or not they want to trade him, which to me is where this is eventually heading. I always felt like it has, and I still believe it will. But this is also why, if you're Kuminga, and why I think he and his representation were intelligent this summer, is because you got to sign that. If this is what could happen, that's why you had to sign the deal. That's why you had to sign the deal. To me, this was always a wink-wink agreement between Kuminga and the Warriors that they were going to continue to try and trade him for what they can while he was going to get compensated for, you could say, being a good soldier. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. They're staying in it because they both can get something out of it. Kuminga can eventually get to where he wants to be, and the Warriors can use his money to get someone they actually want in here, or someone that Steve Kerr will play, someone that can help the team. And this team, by the way, over the last week is looking like it may have turned a corner. I'm excited to see what happens when Steph comes back and how they look, and how Pat Spencer he's the backup point guard in my opinion. He has got to play the backup point guard, which also, to look at Podziemski, I'm curious to see what they do with him, because he's clearly a 2. I actually think that he and Spencer, they proved at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, like they can play together. I think one of the reasons why Spencer is important for someone like Pods is because Pods is not a point. He doesn't have much of a handle. He makes poor decisions sometimes. When he's moving the ball, I think he's fine, and he obviously hit some tough shots tonight. There's a reason why he had 21 points and hit 5 threes. But I think he's better playing off the ball. Pat Spencer is better than him, certainly, with the ball. And so when Steph's out, yeah, Pat's your point. And then with Podziemski, I'm not sure if his minutes will probably come down a bit, because you got to play Melton. Melton's also a guy that it's so obvious to see why the Warriors loved him in those 6 games last year, because he can handle the ball if he needs to. He made a couple of nice plays where, it was late in the shot clock, dove to the cup, had a tough hang and hit with the little floater in the first half. He can put the ball on the deck. He's a capable shooter, and he's a solid defender. So he's got to play. I don't know how much they're going to try and push him because he's coming off the ACL. I don't know what the management is like. And so to me, him and Podziemski might share those allotted total, and then it just depends on how healthy Melton is. But now they got options in the backcourt. That probably means that Seth Curry is going to be out of the rotation on most nights. It also means you're looking around the forward positions, and I think one of the reasons why JK did not play tonight is because of what we saw last year, which was Butler is playing the 4, and Kerr just thinks he's just better. He's better at what the Warriors need him to do. He's a better player, and so he's going to play. And then behind him is Santos right now, and the other guy that's getting phased out quietly is Gary Payton II. I think Kerr trusts him in some of those situations late where he needs a heady guy out there. Maybe he needs a defender. And tonight he played in garbage time. But, yeah, GP2's out of the rotation too. Kerr's starting to look around and I think figure out, okay, when Steph comes back, how does this all work? When Drake comes back, how does this all work? And right now, Jonathan Kuminga is on the outside looking in, along with, to a lesser extent, Gary Payton II and Seth Curry. So that's just the way that I kind of read things right now. All right, if you have any calls, if you want to react to the Warriors' 123-91 win, if you want to get into some of the other things we saw off the court, where you feel like they could be headed, I should say, with 4 days off, preparing for Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We are taking your calls right now at 888-957-9570. Evan Giddings with you on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. And let's listen to the head coach. Let's listen to Steve Kerr right now. I got it, Cam. Appreciate you. And this is all courtesy of Pasta, by the way. So if he drops any MF bombs like he did yesterday, I hope we got those bleeped. Here's the head coach of the Golden State Warriors after the win.
Overall, just how would you assess? What you guys finished?
Yeah, great game tonight. The first quarter was absolutely beautiful basketball. The way the ball was moving, wide open shots because of the movement. Set up our defense well. We were able to crash. We got our spacing right, which set up the crashing. 15 offensive boards. I think Guy had 3 or 4 of them. It was just a fun night of basketball.
Third straight game, under 100 points. You guys figured out something on that end of the floor? Is it just playing harder? And what, in your eyes, what's the key to success on that?
I think we're taking away more of the easy stuff. Some of that is taking better care of the ball. The turnover number tonight wasn't great, but it did feel like we were more in control of the game the last few nights. And when you're in control of the game, you just feel like your defense is set up. But I think overall doing a better job containing penetration and, just helping each other and playing with a lot of energy.
2-1 on this trip, and I think you'll need like 2 games in the next 10 days. You should get your veterans back. Does this feel like an important potential kind of pivot point?
It does. Yeah, we're in a good spot. I feel like we found something. These last couple of weeks, starting to feel like the team we're supposed to be. But we have to back that up and follow up the momentum we have right now with a good stretch.
Coach, congratulations on the victory, especially such a big difference without some of the major players being here. What do you think about the fact that a movie about Decky Miller, which is shown tonight in Chicago, are you going to be able to see it? What are your expectations from the movie?
Very excited to go. A lot of us are going, and very nice to join the Serbian community here in Chicago. I know it's a big community, and to go with Nikola, Decky's son, it'll be a very special night.
What do you think of the fact that Nikola is now with the Warriors, member of the organization?
He's so great. We love Nikola. He's doing a fantastic job. Wonderful young coach, and I look forward to seeing him every day, and it'd be great to honor his dad tonight.
Kuminga out of the rotation tonight for the first time this year. It's not his first time in this position. How do you hope he processes it?
I'm sorry?
How do you hope he processes not playing tonight, getting DNP'd?
Just got to keep going, just like everybody else who's in this position. And it happens to everybody, pretty much, other than the stars. Guys come in and out of the rotation depending on, who's available, how the team's playing. Really wanted to get Guy. I think the way Guy has played the last couple of nights, and after what he did down the stretch last year, you see the impact he makes with his energy. And then obviously getting Melt back. We've got and Pat's emergence. I mean, we've got a lot of mouths to feed, and tonight this is what we decided to do.
You follow up on that. Why was it tonight? Why was it this game that you decided to make the move?
Just because of the way our team looks, and Jimmy came back tonight. JK started last night. They play the same position. I like the group. The last couple of nights, the bench group, Guy, Pat, Melt, and Philly. We got a lot of bodies, and so with Jimmy coming back tonight, it made sense to play the other guys because they complement him really well.
You've always said you were in constant communication with all the guys. How did Jonathan handle what you talked about?
Yeah, all that stuff is private.
You guys are going to be as healthy as at any point, but it's looking like it's trending that way. Does that create some difficult decisions rotation-wise?
For sure. We got Steph back, and, we got Pat playing at the level he is. BP's picked it up, and Melt is a hell of a player. So we got a lot of guys who can play. And the thing that I like about it is it creates competition, and I think what Buddy has done, over the last 5-6 games, Buddy's a guy who understands the league. Ron always says it's a show me league. Show me how hard you're playing. Show me the production. And Buddy, I don't know if I should spill the beans, but Buddy took a red eye the night before the Philly game. He had a family, something great happened in his family. Took the red eye, got in the morning, and just absolutely played his butt off that night. And I challenged him a couple weeks ago to take care of the ball. He's taking care of the ball. And, this is how the league works. I mean, there's always somebody knocking down the door trying to get your job, and so it's on everybody to just compete, bring their best effort, bring the best effort for the team. And I think we got a lot of guys doing that. And you can feel the energy. We're playing with a different level of energy the last few nights. Thanks.
Thank you.
Steve Kerr, after the win tonight in Chicago, 123-91, the Warriors moved to 13-12. That's what it's about. It's about competition. I mean, you heard his last couple minutes there. I thought that they were as honest and as enlightening about what's happening right now with the Warriors and their bench and the guys who are trying to get minutes or the guys that will receive minutes. It's who's playing the hardest. Who is playing the hardest for Golden State? That's going to determine who fills out, I would say, the kind of 4 or 5 through 10. Who's playing the hardest? Last few games, Pat Spencer has been playing the hardest of anyone. He deserves a rotation spot. That means somebody's got to come out. I thought it was interesting he mentioned Buddy, and I feel like Buddy is a guy who's always kind of in the crosshairs because, he does silly things sometimes, and, he has his mishaps and hasn't been shooting very well at all up until recently. But he plays hard. He does. I mean, sometimes it feels difficult to see because he's making some mistakes. But it's like, I think Kerr is all right with some of the mistakes, not just from Buddy, but from other players. If you're playing hard, that's just kind of what it comes down to. And obviously, when Steph comes back, you're gonna sort of figure out where the Warriors look. I think right now the starting lineup that I would like is Curry alongside Melton. The 3 spot's an interesting one because Butler and Draymond are probably going to be the other 2. But I think that Post right now, he's playing hard. He's someone that I actually slapped myself a little bit. Haven't talked a ton about tonight outside of the fact that he got dunked on, which isn't fair to him because he was awesome. Quentin Post, when he's hitting threes, he is an incredibly impactful center. And I would argue this. If he continues to play defense, and I know he only had 4 rebounds, but to me, he's wrestling with guys down in the paint. If he continues to play like that, he should continue to start. He should be the Warriors' starting center. And so if you're telling me I got Curry, Melton, Jimmy, Draymond, Post, and Post can stay on the floor because he's shooting a little bit better. He's not giving up as much as he's getting on the other end. I got Melton, who's a two-way guy. Then that starts to look like a pretty formidable starting 5. Behind them, what does it look like? Pat Spencer's the backup 1. Okay, so at the 2 spot, Pods is probably going to get backup minutes there. But he might have to share with someone like Buddy, although he looks more like he's used as a forward. So where does that leave Moody? And at the 4 now, it feels like, at least for now, Kerr is going to go to Santos as the second, backup 4. I think eventually that's going to change, and that's why I would encourage Kuminga to remain confident because I don't think he's done. They're not going to shut him down until the deadline because eventually Santos is going to play his way out of the rotation, and Kuminga will get another shot. But that's just me. And then Horford's the backup 5, along with Al Horford, who can kind of switch and play between both because he can play alongside Draymond too. Trace, I think, it's a little troubling to play him with Draymond, but then it starts to look like a team, and that means right now Kuminga's out, GP2's out, Seth Curry's out, and I also think too that how Kuminga responds to this, that's going to tell me a lot about him because it's happening again. He's in, he's out, he's done. Everything happened this summer. Not a lot's changed for him. From the guy that I feel like that has showed us that he is a pro. He doesn't speak out as much as his reputation does. He himself has never been the guy to make a stink, and he hasn't this year. That he'll put his head down and get to work, and the next time, hopefully, that He's got a chance to prove himself he can do it if that's the next step for him. Because this is the part, too. It's like, Kerr just said it. When you get an opportunity, and Ron, by the way, the guy Ron he was talking about is Ron Adams, one of their longtime assistant head coaches. Phenomenal guy. And it's a show-me league. Okay, so Kuminga got a chance to start yesterday. For people that are saying, how could you go from starting to being benched completely? Well, this is how. Kuminga was given a chance to start yesterday. He didn't show me. He went 1 for 10. I know they won the game, but he was not good enough to when Jimmy Butler came back to supplant what Santos is giving the Warriors right now. Meanwhile, Pat Spencer gets his first start in the NBA. His first start in the NBA was last night in Cleveland. And he showed you why he should be starting. He showed you why he should have a rotation spot. He scores 19 points, 12 in the fourth quarter, hits 3 big threes, is waving off the fans in Cleveland, ices the game, appropriately so, and everyone is thinking this guy should be playing. And it's taken him a long time to, again, he's got to abide by players in front of him that have higher draft status. He's got to sit and wait his time because he's the 29-year-old who's on a 2-way deal. But when he had his chance to show me or show Kerr or show whoever, he showed them. And that's right now how the Warriors got to do business. If you're not showing them, if you're not showing us, then you're not going to play. They just have too many guys that are around sort of the same to not play that way. On a night like tonight, I would say over this road trip, really, I don't think Kerr played favorites. He played the guys that were playing the best. That's why the Warriors were one possession away from going 3-0 on a road trip without Steph Curry. I don't care who you played. That's not something I thought the Warriors could do. That's just the way that I see it. All right. Where do we go from here? Minnesota. Actually one thing, too, that I know like defense kind of flies under the radar, but I do wonder how much of the Warriors' just ability to bomb and the fact that, the teams, well, that's not true because last night they weren't making a ton of shots and they still played some good defense on Cleveland. Oh, that was the other part about Spencer. So he starts his first game and the backcourt he's facing is Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. It's like, it doesn't matter who's in front of you. You got to go take it. You got to seize it. That's why I think he's the best story right now with the Warriors. That's why everybody's talking about him. And that's why everybody on that team, including him, obviously, and his head coach, thinks he's that mother lover. They think that he is that MFer. And I kind of like the red assness. They need a little chippiness. They need someone who's playing with a chip. The Warriors haven't had a lot of guys this year that seems like they're playing for something. They just have guys that have been playing, including some of the old guys sometimes. Excuse me. I feel like Jimmy Butler, what really woke him up tonight was getting a shot blocked by Zach Collins. I think that woke him up. Took that matchup a little more personally. There's some nights where I'm kind of wondering what Draymond's doing out there. If he's feeling the fire. Steph is in a different category, but I wonder that sometimes about Jimmy and Draymond. Well, maybe Pat Spencer can light a fire under their asses because he's not there to take their jobs, but he's there to, if Pat Spencer is helping the Warriors, you got no excuse. I mean, again, this guy he's not even guaranteed a roster spot right now. He's helping you win, so you got to play your ass off. That's another part about him that I think is important for what the Warriors are trying to accomplish. Again, in the immediate. It's not like Pat Spencer is going to be, I don't know, a guy that jumps from getting 15 to 20 minutes a game, a guy that's going to be starting alongside Curry and averaging 20 a game, or 20 and 7. But I think what he's doing is pushing everybody else because he's a guy that comes from a no-excuse place. He's a guy that every time he plays, there is a referendum made about his ability, about his career as a basketball player, I mean, I think looking at this summer, he probably felt like he deserved a roster spot. In fact, I was actually curious as to why he wanted to stay with Golden State, and maybe he didn't have other offers. I think that one part of his game that I always question, I remember, I forget it was he or Kerr was talking about it after the Philly game, maybe it was last night, but he wasn't a great shooter. And I don't think he's going to continue to shoot 75%, which is what he's shot from three the last 4 games. He didn't take any threes tonight, but he's got a nice little pull-up. He's got some touch around the rim. More importantly, I feel like he can kind of get into the paint and penetrate, and is obviously a willing passer. But he clearly improved that part of his game. To be a guard and not be able to shoot, that's a tough life. And I think I remember reading that he said when he was in college, like he didn't take threes at all. In college you can kind of get away with not being a great shooter as a guard. In the NBA, you got to be able to shoot. In fact, at most positions, if you don't shoot, you're going to have a hard time. But especially as a point guard. In 2025, that is. But Spencer, again, last week he's shown that if you don't guard him, like he can knock down a three. And the Warriors are always a bit of an ebb and flow type of squad when it comes to shooting. Partially, I think that's why they take so many of them. I think they're either first or second in three-point rate in the league. They take a ton of threes, and it's because they don't have a ton of players that can get into the paint and sort of dominate in the interior. Even looking at them tonight, they were outscored on points in the paint, and they scored 32 more points than their opponent. So, that's an area they're always going to struggle in, and maybe something they can identify at the deadline is trying to find, maybe it's a big. I would prefer to have a wing right now looking at this team, because I feel like as opposed to thinking about, all right, how good can they be with a better center, I'm starting to think, all right, how good can they be? Because they've always been their best when they play small, but if they get another forward in here that can impact some things, that can knock down some shots, that can play defense, all right, well then Curry, Melton, insert player, Butler, Green, that team might be able to, that team might be all right, in spurts, and I'm thinking about really their closing lineup. In the final 5 minutes, can that group either hold a game or go win a game, come from behind? I think there might be something there. But that's, again, that's a more clearer picture that when Curry comes back, again, with all these guys they got sort of vying for the other rotation spots, that's something that is going to, I think, materialize and sort of or clear the picture, I should say. So, I think that's what the Warriors are looking at right now. I think we feel a lot better about them than we did a week ago. Certainly a lot better than we did prior to yesterday. But I mean, even the Philly game was encouraging. They just obviously couldn't win. But gosh, if they were one possession away from a 3-0 road trip, if they won that Philly game, that would be something. Because the Warriors haven't been a team that without Steph have been able to, I think, convince us that they can go win games. And that was the crazy part about tonight. It's like Jimmy was probably the best player on the floor for the Warriors. But it wasn't just like, all right, the Jimmy show. Give him the ball, get out of the way. He's going to score 35, 40 points or have a triple-double and will you to a win. It was Jimmy can go dominate and kind of take hold of the game when things are getting a little out of control, which is when they were at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Post is a guy that can be a lethal shooter from the 5 spot. And by the way, I know he likes playing against Chicago because they don't have a great center to really. Vucevic is, to me, he's not a guy the Warriors should have or should want come trade deadline. That's just me. I don't think he's that great. And in fact, I know it's a small sample size, but both times that Quentin Post has played against Nikola Vucevic, he has outplayed him. He has. He did it last year, his rookie season. I think it was his first or second start. He scored 20 points, hit 6 threes at home. And tonight, he outplayed him again. Vucevic was awful. He was 1 for 6 from 3. Post is just a cheaper version of him. While he might not be better night in and night out, I'd rather have Quentin Post than paying Nikola Vucevic, what is it, $20+ million? Sorry, give me the second round pick on a 4-year cheap deal. And then, the other thing I was going to say about the Bulls was, well, defensively, they don't have a lot to offer. But, for the rest of the team, that's right. Melton hits some shots when you kind of needed him to. Plays quality defense, and he's guarding, Giddey, Dosunmu, White, faster guys. We saw him, what he could sort of do when he needed to it against Maxey. How he can make things hard on quicker players as a point of attack defender. Off the bench, if Moses Moody can come in and be a guy to just knock down some shots, well, then he becomes a bit more playable. You don't have to rely on him being the lockdown defender that Melton is. You don't have to rely on his three-point shooting because he's coming off the bench. Buddy Hield, if he's someone who plays hard, maybe he doesn't have to hit 3 threes a game to play. And obviously he's not going to, I don't think he's going to continue to start. Maybe he will, not sure. Kerr seems to like him. But he only played 22 minutes tonight, so it's not like he was playing more than other guys who also came off the bench. And then Pods is someone who, if he's taking and making threes like that, he's going to help you. It's so weird, but the stat I saw tonight, which I could not believe, was there are 2 players in the Warriors franchise that have scored 20 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists or more in less than 30 minutes. And those players are Steph Curry and Brandon Podziemski. The players that have done it multiple times. Sorry. So Pods has, in under 30 minutes, scored 20, got 5 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists. He's done that multiple times. The only other guy for the Warriors that has done that is Steph Curry. Yeah, I can't believe those two are in the same sentence, but they are. But if Pods plays the way he played tonight, he's going to help you. And I think that as a bench player, that's his role. The addition of Melton, Curry coming back, along with Draymond coming back, it puts all of these guys who we believe to be sort of bench players in their place. And I think what's been comforting about the last couple games is that it feels like if and when the big dogs are out, those players can step up. And now they have a better picture of who they are when they don't have their best players. So that's encouraging to me as a whole. All right, that'll put a bow on it for us here at 95.7 The Game from our Laughing Monk Studios. A big thank you to our network coordinator, Cameron Williams. Always here early, always here late, always working hard for us, and we love him for it. Steven Risotto, working kind of hard if you're listening out there, a.k.a. Pasta. Just kidding. He's doing all the dirty work behind the scenes, making everything sound good for us. Big thank you to everybody who chimed in. Our YouTube chat powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And to everybody out there, again, we'll be talking about the Warriors. Also off the bye week, what happened in the NFL. A lot to break down ahead tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I believe Shasky is out, so it's going to be Joe Spadoni and Sam Lubman. Steiny and Guru in from 10 to 2. I believe Guru is back tomorrow. And then Willard and Dibbs from 2 to 6. So from everybody here at 95.7 The Game, thank you for listening to Warriors Wrap-Up. My name is Evan Giddings saying so long, and we'll talk to you next time. A long week ahead for the Warriors, but a nice trip for them as they are now 13-12 as it stands after the weekend. We'll talk to you next time. You're home for Golden State Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad...
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco.
The best place to get that
on Odyssey Station.
Ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/life.
O'Reilly. Cleaning your fuel system can help your engine run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner on sale now. Buy one, get one free, plus get 2 times O-Rewards points. Just add it to your tank during your next fill-up. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? at Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
You'll be sorry. An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
From carriage house to glass aluminum doors, R&S Doors has a full line of commercial and residential garage doors and gates to suit anyone's taste and budget. Visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
When back to the office means back in traffic.
Blocking the right lane.
Turn to the traffic leader, KCBS.
You're going to come up on heavy traffic.
Brought to you by your NorCal Honda dealers. Don't miss Happy Honda Days for the best deals of the year on the versatile HR-V. See your NorCal Honda dealers today.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No!
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No!
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
Americans pay about $5 billion to control termites and repair their damage every year. Many people underestimate exactly how much damage they do. Call Pacific Coast Termite today at 800-PACIFIC for a free home inspection. Certain restrictions apply. No tenting, though. No double bagging your food. No pet sitting. Mention KCBS and get 10% off termite treatments and a 2-year guarantee on their work. Call 800-PACIFIC, 800-PACIFIC, or go to PacificCoastTermite.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2025. Last chance! Donate now for a 2025 tax deduction.
To a wild card.
Well, you're 100% right on that. Because right now, the Texans win, they're 8-5. The Colts are 8-5. The first place team in the AFC South, which you commonly call the worst division in football, is 9-4 right now. So you'd have 3 teams that are knocking on the door of the playoffs. Touchdown Texans. They take the lead now with 6:56 to go in the game. After, honestly, I mean, again, I'm sorry. I'll try to move past it. That's one of the dumbest fourth down goes. I don't care if the analytics say go. Arnie hit it on the head with the way their defense. They just had to go 31 yards to score the game-winning touchdown. Potentially.
Think what the last 6:56, not only the game means, because the game could be over, the season could be over, the way we know the Chiefs as we know it now may be over.
Right.
The whole thing may be crumbling down in the last 6:56.
You're going to have to start having the Bills start to go a little bit for old Patrick Mahomes and his contract. Travis Kelce might be in his final. I'm starting to get excited about this right now, guys. This is the first time I've really been excited about the potential into the Chiefs era. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Raiders should be shut down as a franchise. But, oh, my goodness, to see this come to an end.
Which makes you happier, the end of the Patriots and Tom Brady, or the end of Patrick
Chiefs
Mahomes?
and Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, really?
I actually
by a
agree with
landslide.
this.
By a landslide.
Really?
Here's the problem, though. And
because that's
you're
your
part of the
division.
problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. And you're part of this problem, and you have to wear it.
Okay.
You tried to end the Patriots dynasty literally for a decade.
Right. Yes,
Every
I did. Absolutely.
single year, you'd be like, oh, it's over. It's done. And they'd win the Super Bowl. We've been doing this show together, I want to say, since about 2000 and maybe 14, maybe 15,
13.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So 13? Okay.
Yeah.
You had the dynasty over when they lost in the AFC Championship game to the Broncos, and then they won the Super Bowl the next year because I think that was the first Super Bowl we did together, I think, was the Broncos when Von Miller won the MVP. Because, again, you see I never give you credit.
I had him winning the MVP.
You had him as a sleeper pick to win the MVP. But the Patriots, again, their dynasty, they were always lingering. But they went a couple of years where even at 11, when Brady got hurt, right, they missed the playoffs. They lost in the wild card a couple of years, lost in the AFC Championship game, lost in the AFC Championship game, in fact, a couple of times. And then they would be back in the Super Bowl. They'd win it, and then they'd win it again, and then they'd lose the Super Bowl, and then win another Super Bowl. So I wonder if we're starting to see that kind of, let's see, what year was it? That 2008 dip that the Patriots had, because the Patriots won 3 or 4 Super Bowls
right.
from 2001 to 2004.
Without winning,
right. And then they went from 2005 until, oh gosh, what was the next one? 2014.
Oh my God, 9 years. Like I said, 10 years. Yeah, it went a while.
You were correct. But I wonder if that's what we're getting ready to see with the Chiefs right now.
Who do you find more hateable, I guess is the word. I mean, because everybody hates the Cowboys, but do you find Tom Brady and the Patriots more hateable? It sounds like you saw Mahomes and Kansas City.
Again, I'm a Raiders fan. They're in my division. They won the Super Bowl in my team stadium, so I want to see them lose and lose a lot. I am in an area of the country where I deal with Chief fans on a regular basis, and some of them are like one of my best friend. One of my best friends is a Chiefs fan, and he's great, but all of his friends suck. I almost spent a second around them, Arnie. They drive me crazy. I don't notice it's quiet. Roger the engineer isn't texting me. It's quiet. It's quiet from all the Chief fans all of a sudden.
Who would you rather have as your quarterback for the next 10 years? Mahomes or Josh Allen? Well, that's not hard. I don't think that's hard.
For the next 10 years?
Yeah. Why, is that too long?
Well, I mean,
not
Mahomes
really.
Still has Super Bowl titles and MVPs, and I don't think I'm just ready because they're going to fall to 6-7 this year. I don't think I'm ready to say Mahomes is not that good. For some reason,
not that
you
good.
don't have this area.
Yeah.
You don't have this area of like common sense. Sometimes it's either it's either the worst thing you've ever seen or the best. And just because the Chiefs are having a bad season doesn't mean Mahomes suddenly sucks and is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
The Dan Marino Award goes to Patrick Mahomes. No, probably Josh Allen.
But stop. Just because don't make me defend them. Let me enjoy them being terrible for just a moment before you start saying stupid stuff here on the radio. Anyway, 17-10. Houston has the lead. There's 6:39 to go in the game. Kansas City trying to drive. They're nearing midfield. We'll keep you up to date on this. But you got to be on cloud 9 because the in-the-hunt teams right now, Arnie, when you're looking at the AFC, the Dolphins are there, along with the Ravens. They've kind of given up finally on the Cincinnati Bengals after their loss today. But a massive development in the playoff chase because Daniel Jones is done. And
yeah,
I don't.
That's
and we got a lot. We got a lot of that Jaguars game for some reason on red zone cut-ins. And Riley Leonard might be terrible. He might be awful. And I think that Anthony Richardson boat has sailed in Indianapolis.
They got another quarterback though, right? They just. Looks like they got another one, right?
Well, did they get another quarterback tonight?
Yeah, Joe Flacco, I guess.
Oh, did they go get Flacco?
Well, Flacco asked for his release so he can go there. That was the report I saw. I thought he asked for his release. You only do that when you want to. It said so he can go to the Colts. I have to guess see if it's true, but I think it is true.
That wouldn't be a bad get. I mean, that's what the
really. I guess.
That he's
yeah.
Did you watch Riley Leonard today?
You're ready to make him the starter,
hey man,
right?
I've watched bad quarterbacking all year long. I'm a Raiders fan. Riley Leonard, I'm like, bro, are you throwing with the wrong hand? It was terrible. And I get it. It was a rainy mess and weather was an issue today, but that was bad. That was bad. And now all of a sudden, if you're sitting there and, like I said, maybe not so much Cincinnati with their loss today, but the Chargers, right, who have been kind of battling whenever it comes to that playoff spot or even, winning the division. Suddenly, maybe a little bit of breathing room with the Colts. I know the Texans are playing better, and if they hold on here, they'll be 8-5. Of course, they just gave up a big I'm sorry, I got caught watching a replay.
Yeah, that was
just
a replay.
Giving up another big play. But, I mean, the Texans are fighting for a W here tonight. That would improve the Texans to 8-5. But if you are, the Chiefs aren't out of it. The Ravens aren't out of it. Your Dolphins aren't out of it. You feel a little bit more hope because a Colts team that was already leaking oil, right, that have lost, 4 of their last 5 games, is now incredibly vulnerable because it looks like Daniel Jones is done for the season.
Yeah, it just crushes them. Even if the Dolphins went 10-7, they'd only have like a 38% chance of getting in the playoffs. I guess
Don't
it's a
care.
lot
You're
better.
in the mix.
Yeah, you're still in the mix there. Lots has to happen. There's some good records right now in the AFC, but as you mentioned, Daniel Jones going down. And did you see the frustration again? It was a non-contact hit.
Yeah.
And he was slamming his helmet down. I'm like, first I thought he was slamming his helmet against his leg, but it was between his legs. I'm like, whoa, easy there, big boy.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss and hit something valuable. I felt bad for him, man. Obviously, he was frustrated. It's too bad. He was in the middle of a great season. He got hurt. That derailed him a little bit. Now they've lost 3 in a row, and they're going to go the wrong way fast. So I feel bad for Daniel Jones.
Well, and let's remember, his deal with the Colts was a 1-year deal. It was a bet on yourself kind of a deal. And that Achilles, as we've learned by seeing so many of them in the NBA, Arnie, that's not we've got technology where we can improve the healing process of this. This is a year. You're out for a year. So Daniel Jones probably won't be available to an NFL team for the entire season next year.
Wow. And that's too bad. As a matter of fact, since you're on injuries, did you see the hit on Zach Ertz? Did you see that hit?
I did.
Oh, my goodness. I hear some people are calling for and I don't have his name in front of me. I'll have to look it up. The guy who
I do. I got it. It's Josh Metellus.
Josh Metellus? Is that who it is?
That's the guy that hit Zach Ertz.
To be suspended? That was it a dirty hit? I don't think he got.
It was a terrible throw. He threw him into it. Listen, it was a. I think they call them hospital balls. Listen, he threw him right into the hit, and again, you're right. Maybe it is a situation that the league will look at it, but that was gruesome. That was gruesome to see. Why, do you think he should be done? Suspended for a game?
No, I don't think he should,
Okay.
but he didn't get a flag on that, right? He
Nope.
No, and I thought it was that he got his leg just not caught up. I don't know. It didn't get stuck, but it just bent the wrong way. You know what I'm saying, Chris? It was the whole play was weird. You just like, oh no, you knew right away. As soon as he hit him so low that he got him bad, and he called for the trainer right away, and his career could be done. It's just horrible. It's terrible to see that. He was very emotional too. Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
Did he get his leg stuck at that? I don't know what happened. It just was the hit.
Dude, no, the hit, it just took him right out. That his leg wasn't stuck, he was airborne, and he just clipped him right in his right leg as he was coming down. And it wasn't stuck or anything. It was just he got rocked. And again, I don't know what's supposed to be the place to hit someone anymore. You hit high, you're going to get flagged for headhunting. Right. You hit quarterbacks low. But that was a ball that he went up to try to get, and it's a blowout already. I got to stop watching this now.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it was bad. I felt he was very emotional when they were taking him off of the cart. He was covering his face, and you could see he was just bawling. I just felt horrible for him. How long has he been in the league?
He's also 35, Arnie.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been in the league like 12 years. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back. That might have been the way he's going out. I'd be emotional also.
Also, correction, it was actually Jay Ward. I was looking at it. It was Jay 24, Ward, not 44. My bad, my eyes.
Look at Jay Ward and your memory on Minnesota Vikings players. Apparently you don't. I'm just kidding.
You're
Update
right.
from Kansas
This is
City.
why I want a
Arrowhead.
producer who's a Dolphin fan. See, I may have to get rid of this producer and next show get a Dolphin fan producer. I'm thinking about it right now.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Update
I may do
from
it.
Arrowhead. 5:26 to go in the football game. The Chiefs fail on a 4th down again on a 4th and 4. And Houston, they had to go for it in this instance because they're running out of time. Houston has the football back. They've got it on the Kansas City 41-yard line. 5:26 to go in the game. Texans lead it 17-10. Numbers on C.J. Stroud tonight: 15 of 30, 203 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Arnie, I know you wanted to cut him and kick him out of the league a couple of weeks
stop
ago.
it.
But I'm saying this with peace and love.
Yes.
I think he's played really well the last
He
couple
has.
of weeks. He had an injury that took him out, but yeah, it's he took that shot, right? That late hit in the Broncos game, and he's been really good the last few weeks.
You know, and I do think you're 100% right on C.J. Stroud. He's played so much better in the last 6 games. But what we're really overlooking here, Chris, the lead in this is the defense. They shut out Kansas City in Kansas City for the first half, and then we give up 10 total points to the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Damn, I'd be throwing them a parade when they got home over something like that. That is one stingy defense, and that's a team I don't want to go ahead and play. That's a recipe for being upset in the first round of the playoffs. A real tough defense, somebody who could run the ball a little bit, and a quarterback that's again coming back like he did his first year. So that they look good right now.
All right, let's get our first break in here while this game heads down the home stretch. There is much more Dolphins propaganda to come here tonight. Plus, the college football playoffs are set. Notre Dame is left out. Everyone's losing their mind. I'm sorry. Arizona and Notre Dame are left out, so everyone is losing their mind over the final rankings tonight. We'll get to that coming up in just a bit. You have teams that are bailing out of bowl games left and right. And, I mean, we got Week 14 of the National Football League and a Monday Night Football game that is a fascinating matchup between, two teams that could be headed in different directions.
Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. You're talking about tomorrow.
Yeah, Monday Night Football between the Eagles and the Chargers. We'll dive into it coming up next with Arnie and Plank right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Oh, boy, here we go. It's the college football playoff. Who's in? Who's out? Who should have been in? And who got absolutely screwed?
I think it's the right result, but the wrong path.
Ready, son? Your college football playoff reactions are right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9871. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9871. That's 800-575-9871. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends, near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs, with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Ragnar the Terrible is interviewing at a big bank. Let's listen.
Everyone, this is 5th century warlord Ragnar the Terrible. He killed it in his first interview. Not literally, but close. Ragnar, what would you do if a customer complained about high loan rates?
I make video presentation.
Star One is nothing like the big banks. We have better rates, minimal fees, and friendly customer service. Star One, in your best interest.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins, just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Sets us apart from the rest. It's our ability to talk the talk.
Back to what I'm saying.
And being able to walk the walk.
If you want knowledge, listen to Fox Sports Radio.
We have the shows.
Can't be weak. Can't be soft and weak.
We have the talent.
Knowing who you are is the most important part.
We're just plain better than the rest.
It's about the consistency.
We're Fox Sports Radio. And we have the premier sports lineup in the business. FS1. To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details. FS1. Go to foxsports.com for details.
Travis Kelce has a ball that was thrown behind and bounced off his hands into the arms of a Houston Texan defender. Texans' second interception of Patrick Mahomes of the night. and then now have a chance to grind the clock down, leading 17-10 in what would be a titanic blow. We're at the 2-minute warning to the Chiefs' playoff hopes. And did you see everybody was getting all over Alex Smith this morning, the former Chiefs quarterback?
No, what were they saying about him? No.
Alex Smith came out today, and I guess this was right after the playoff selection show. They have like NFL Live or what? One of the 8,000 NFL pregame shows on ESPN where all they do is give you their picks. And Alex Smith said that the Texans are going to win, and they're the better team. And of course, he's a former Chiefs quarterback. So
yeah, right.
Everyone lost their mind. It's like, God, okay, make sure you have this for receipts or give this. I like fans who say this should be bulletin board material.
Bulletin board, because we're not trying hard enough as it is.
Right. I'm sure Andy Reid is scrolling Twitter to see if he can't find some bulletin board material, right? But he basically said the Texans are the better football team and expect them to beat the Chiefs. Quote, I don't care if it's Arrowhead. And everybody started losing their mind, and they started piling on. But he got one right.
Yeah, I still think it's a good victory. I wasn't going to go and say I expected them to win. I took the 3.5 points, but their defense looked phenomenal. I didn't think they'd. I don't think Alex thought they were going to shut them out in the first half and hold them to 10 points for the entire game. Their defenses look good. Their defenses made Mahomes look like he should retire after this year, or along with Travis Kelce. You see Travis Kelce on the sideline, like trying to meditate and take deep breaths, like it's over. Not only is the year over, your career may be over, big boy. Even though he said he's coming back, right? Isn't that the word? He's going to come back, or what?
That's the word. That's the word. But then you get in that mode where, do you think that you can come back and have? Everyone feels like that there is always a minor setback to a massive comeback. Doesn't always work that way.
Right.
It doesn't always. There is this. Look at LeBron right now, how his body keeps failing him for things that he would probably be able to play through 20 years ago. Now it's like, he's got a toe injury. It's like a toe injury, foot injuries keeping him out. Yeah, dude, because you're old. Father Time is undefeated whenever it comes to these things. So, in fact, Colin, trying to spoil the bit very early, hits us up on one of the first tweets of the show and says, after week 14, we all know this, Travis Kelce's career is over. Over. What an ugly non-catch interception. Ouch.
You know, we should do that as a segment. Whose career or team is it OVER? In as many sports as we could find. He's right. His career is over. The season's over for him. His career's over. He may come back for one more year, but that's just going to be to eat up money and still try to have some relevance. Otherwise, it's all done for him, and he sees it. He'll look in the mirror and go, where did it all go? It just disappeared.
17-10, Houston has the lead. They have it currently 3rd and 4 at the Kansas City 9. They're in field goal range, so at the very least, they can make this a 2-score game.
Kansas City has no timeouts, right, do they?
That's right. Kansas City has burned through all their timeouts, and obviously we're at the 2-minute warning. So 3rd down and 4 with time winding down. In fact, it's less than 2 minutes now. It's 1:50 and counting. So we'll see if they pick up the first down, they can kneel on it, and it's over. But, I mean, 2 key plays in this game, Arnie. It's funny that my feed's a little bit delayed. But they're showing it that the 4th and 1 on your own 30-yard line.
Right.
Again, you had a play
lost
there.
The game. That decision lost them the game.
You have a play there, right? Rasheed Rice is open. But, again, I don't want to belabor the point. Your defense has been crushing it against Houston all night long. You give them a short field. You give them a chance to basically win the football game. And now they're not going to get the first down. So, in fact, they lose a yard on 3rd and 4. So it's 4th and 5 around the Kansas City 10, and they'll be able to milk this clock down to, 30 seconds and kick a 2-score field goal, right?
I mean, game over.
I know some people don't like risking kicking the field goal because of all the things that could go wrong, but I feel like, and I'm not just saying this to try to help out Patrick's fantasy team at all tonight, but at the very least, you got to kick the field goal and get those 3 points and go with the 2-score lead.
Who are you? Who are you, Pete Carroll? What's going on here, man? What's happening?
You want to talk about that? Listen, let's get this.
Oh my goodness, they're calling for an investigation.
Good. Kick him out of the league.
I don't understand, but
he should be banned.
I don't really
Kick 'em out.
understand I understand that the betting interest in the kick made them cover the spread, but I don't understand what the big surprise is, to be honest with you, Chris. They either had to throw it into the end zone or they had to kick the field goal. It was one or the other. I don't see what everybody's up in arms about this, you know?
I think the frustration comes because the Raiders freaking stink. But I think the other frustration comes from the fact that you usually do that when you have enough time to recover an onside kick. They did it, and it ended up being the last play of the game.
Right, but so what's the difference if you just throw a Hail Mary into the end zone and you lose even if you score a touchdown? What's the difference either way?
Because you're cheating and you need to be kicked out of the league. I'm so bitter. Let's get into that coming up next. But first, as the Houston Texans make a field goal to make this a 2-score game with 33 seconds left, Steve DeSager for the first time tonight. There's the music. There's the dings. What's going on, Steve?
Hello, gentlemen, and we can update one of the amazing Patrick Mahomes career stats. Because when his teams in his career have been down by 10 points or more, he still had a winning record. The only quarterback in history with a winning record after their teams were down double digits or more in the games. It's going to be 20-20 now. Playoffs included after tonight.
Still damn good. But
literally no other quarterback is even over 400 winning percentage except for Tim Tebow at 5-6 and Otto Graham at 7-10 with one tie in those situations. And these records go back to 1950. But my goodness, can we just say out loud what we kind of said out loud a month ago? The streak of winning the AFC West goes by the board. The streaks, remember all those AFC championship
we or
games
I?
in a row?
Was that we or I? I don't remember.
They're going to be 6-7 after tonight. Temperatures in the 20s at this game. The Texans are about to win their 5th game in a row and go up to 8-5. It's a 20-10 lead with 30 seconds left. The Texans with the best defense in football. They allow under 17 points a game. And as you mentioned, no points for the Chiefs in the first half tonight. They only allow 266 yards per game. That is also best in the league. Chiefs offense is under 246 at the moment with this final drive to go. 20-10. Texans lead on the road. C.J. Stroud with a touchdown pass in the first half of 9 yards to Woody Marks. Marks, 2.5 yards a carry tonight, 26 carries, 68 yards, but he's going to be on the winning side. And it's a very, very bunched up AFC standings. Only 7 teams go to the playoffs. Going into tonight, Houston was number 8. Kansas City was number 9. Baltimore Ravens, after losing today, number 10. It is bunched up. And the NFC's the same. I mean, in one drive today, the Bears went from the 1 seed to the 7 seed. So that's how things have gone. Green Bay beat Chicago 28-21. Caleb Williams of the Bears threw an interception in the end zone with under 30 seconds left. Rams are 10-3. They dominated at Arizona 45-17. Seattle's 10-3 after winning at Atlanta 37-9. Seahawks were trailing 6-3 late in the first half. The Baltimore home loss was to Pittsburgh 27-22. Those teams had been tied for first in the AFC North. Jacksonville was hosting the Colts. Those two teams were tied for first in the AFC South. Jaguars won the game 36-19, and Colts quarterback Daniel Jones limped off with a torn Achilles. That diagnosis will be official tomorrow, apparently. Denver won its 10th straight game, 24-17 at Las Vegas. It was 24-7 with 2.5 minutes to go. The Broncos are tied with idle New England for the 1 seed in the AFC. Buffalo in the snow beat Cincinnati 39-34. Bills were down 10 with under 10 minutes to go. Cleveland played in the snow and lost at home by 2 points to Tennessee.
Shadur looked good. He looked real good.
31-29 Titans the final. Shadur Sanders 364 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 touchdown run.
Say hello to your newest Raider quarterback.
The Browns missed 2 2-point conversions in the last 4.5 minutes and lost by 2 points. And by the way, Buffalo, nothing but white on the field, snow throughout the day. It snowed plenty in Cleveland with no white on the field because they have a heated field.
Yeah.
Buffalo is not moving into its new stadium until next year. They're still in the old place. By the way, it is now a final. Houston 20-10. New Orleans won at Tampa Bay 24-20.
Amazing. And Mike said they were the worst team.
Well, 2-10 was the record coming in. It was pretty close. Tyler Shuck, couple of touchdown runs. Minnesota sent Washington to an 8th straight loss, 31-0. And the Miami Dolphins are 6-7.
Woo!
After winning at the Jets 34-10. That could be the sound of every Jets fan, actually, that noise. The Jets had no first downs until late in the first half. Yikes.
What schlub came in to quarterback them? I don't even know. The quarterback from Missouri or something.
Correct. Brady Cook with a couple of...
oh, my gosh, he was so terrible.
Not Brady
Could have
Quinn.
been Brady Quinn would have done better, but, whatever.
Brady Cook, 2 interceptions to Rod Taylor, left in the first quarter with a groin injury. We will have a battle of 8-4 teams in L.A. tomorrow night as the Eagles are at the Chargers. Quarterback Justin Herbert with the broken left hand officially is questionable, but the team throughout the week has been optimistic that if he could finish last weekend's game, he can play tomorrow night's, even if there are limitations. College football playoff final rankings are out. Indiana is number 1 in college football for the first time ever. 13-0 the record. They're one of the teams in the top 4 to get a first-round bye. Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, the others. Indiana is going to the Rose Bowl for the first time since the 1960s.
I was so delusional, I thought they were going to pick Arizona. A small chance that they're going, and we're picking Arizona.
Arizona will be in the Holiday Bowl on Fox TV, January 2nd.
Against some schlub.
SMU, thank you, in San Diego. BYU was not picked. They'll be in the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando against Georgia Tech after Christmas. Notre Dame was not selected, and they've said, forget it, we're not going to any bowl.
Yeah, nobody's making a big deal about that.
Notre Dame did lose its opener at Miami. Miami was picked as the number 10 team, and they'll be at Texas A&M. Number 9, Alabama, will be at Oklahoma. By the way, also withdrawing from bowl season, Iowa State and Kansas State, but they just got new head coaches. Former second baseman Jeff Kent was elected to the Baseball
good for him.
Hall of Fame by committee, not by the baseball writers. College hoops wins for North Carolina and Kansas. Back to you.
Hey, by the way, here's a great trivia. The team with the best record in the NFC is a 5 seed.